This video is about, it's been on my mind since this morning to make a video about it. And we sort of, I just went for a ride around the lake, and and the video is about men getting real, especially the older we get, and women too, I presume. But I've met a few women who have seemed to suffer the same affliction, and the thing is what you know you're not going to get, don't fantasize or dream about it. It's like if you go and I've been into stores with guys and they've seen a young pretty girl at the counter and they're like, whoa, check it out, check it out. And the guy's married. And I look at him and I go, you're married, don't? Leave her alone. And he's like, no, she's hot. And then if I'm single at the time, like I have been in the past at various times, probably most of my life, they've said to me, oh, well, what about you? And I'm like, no. And to see, the thing here is, it reminds me of what happened with me in the character assassination, where the girl followed me around the supermarket for about 2 to 3 months. I'm not sure how long it actually was, but it seemed like 3 months. And for some reason, I got 3 months stuck in my head. But I'd go there, she'd work at the counter, and she was young, half my age, followed me around the store, and I'd be like, oh. And it finally got to me about after a 3 month period, and I finally approached her at the counter and talked to her. And the next day, I'm pretty sure it was the very next day, I went into there early to get some milk or something, and she accused me, this woman, Alison, who was working there, accused me of stalking this girl. And the girl set me up and everything. And I was like, oh man, you followed me 3 months and then you set me up? Far out. So what I'm trying to get at here is young minds aren't as mature as your mind, and therefore, and they're very controlled and impressed by other people's um, desires for them or what other people expect of them. And another example is of I think it's the drummer of Split Enz. One of the band members of Split Enz was in Australia. I think he was living there, and these young girls kept going by, and oh, she kept smiling at him or saying hi, or in a sort of friendly, I want to know you way. But he knew she was really young, and he wrote about it on the internet, and he said he found out who she was, and he wrote a message to her on, I think it was Facebook. And so her mother got the police onto him and everything. He got into heaps of trouble. And so I think it's about growing up and being mature, guys. These girls are young, they're immature, they may fancy you or they want to fling. Every time I see a young woman who fancies me, it's a fling. I tell myself it's a fling. I said, James, it's a fling, she just wants a fling. The last one I got nearly serious with about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And she worked with us, and I found out later she was going to use me. So I think that you'll find in cases like the Charlie Chaplin, Chuck Norris, and if you're famous, you get these things on Facebook about men or women who've married people half their age, exactly half their age, or even younger. And if it does happen that people can marry people half their age, and they can be very, very happy. But it also doesn't happen, and you can get accused of stuff. Carl Wilson from the Beach Boys years ago was at a party and he met a young female and he was drunk. He went through a drunk period. He was turned up concerts drunk, and he had an alcohol problem, obviously. And he was at this party and he slept with this young woman. And then the very next day, or very soon after, the mother found out the daughter slept with a famous singer, and quickly got the police in and said she was underage and she was just 15 something. And it's very hard to tell between a 15 and 16 and 17-year-old. And this way you don't go there at all. You don't even, you don't entertain the thought, you don't think the thought. And if you, at a party, so you keep well away from them. And he got sued, and the mother got a amount of money for it. I'm not sure how much, but it probably would have been pretty darn high, probably in the millions. And so he paid a heavy price just for a bit of sex. And he was drunk at the time, so his brain wasn't working properly anyway. And so this video is about growing up, being mature, and when the younger women are around you, I kind of get it from playing Gary Puckett and the Union Gap song, "Young Girl, Get Out of My Mind," that a lot recently. And in the video, he's just saying, "Look, girl, you got your makeup on, you're looking real pretty, you're looking really hot, and I know what you want to do, but you're too young. Get out of my mind, get out of my life, go before I make a mistake." And so, if you're an older man and an older woman, I don't think it quite works the same with women. I've known of a lot of women to go with younger men. There was a case here in New Zealand where a school teacher went with a 17 or 16-year-old student or younger, a 15-year-old. I don't know the precise his precise age, but uh, he she got a smack in the hand when they found out she was sleeping with his student, and she was allowed to continue teaching at the school. She was just told not to do it again. If a guy does it, normally he loses his job. So I think there's a little bit of bias there. But I don't know if that's everywhere, just in that particular case. So if you're a guy, this is particularly for guys, keep away from them. If you walk into a shop and there's some cute young females there, just look away or be polite to them. And that's all I am. When I go in, and if it's for getting my spectacles, it's for getting something in a store that I've ordered, or I'm going to pick something up from the post or anything like that, just walk in and walk out. That's all I do. Get out as quick as possible. Don't stay, don't chat. For God's sakes, don't chat. You chat with them and they turn around and say, "Oh, he's talking you, he's after you because you're being friendly." A lot of people mistake friendliness, especially if they're young, insecure, immature, for desiring them. Because they just, you got to admit, the young girls today, 7, 8, 9, they're looking in a mirror. And mum's showing them how to put makeup, and they're desiring themselves. They say, "My gosh, I'm gorgeous." And mum's saying, "All the guys going to love you. The guys are always after you. Oh, you're gorgeous, honey." And the girl believes, she says, "I'm fantastic, I'm gorgeous." Gets to be 16, an old man comes in. He's polite to her or friendly to her, or maybe he shops. She gets a flat tire or something, and he helps her out. And next thing you know, he's been accused of stalking her. So the thing here is, and I have found that even if you're nice to the person and you're actually doing them a favour, they think you're stalking them. It's a very awkward position that men get in when they get older. It's like, and if you're an older man and if you're single, then you're some kind of sex maniac. It gives you, it seems to give people's minds an extra edge. Like, say, there's 3 steps to sex maniac. You're already a step simply because you're older and you're single. So you must have a dirty mind. You must be out chasing all the young girls. If they can't comprehend that you're not interested, or you don't want to, or you're interested in true love. And they don't get that, and they don't comprehend that, probably because their minds aren't interested in true love, or they don't have it, or they're just interested in sex. I'm not sure. And the young people today, they're soaked in sex from TV, movies, songs, and all the chatter at school. So sex is always on their minds. So they assume through vanity, to young females through vanity, that if you're showing them some attention, you're after a bit, and you're not. So if you're a male, a policeman friend of mine told me that they have to prove it. But as when the character assassination, when the woman sent a cop around to abuse me, he threatened me. Um, he told me, he says, I can take you down to the police station. I said, I haven't done anything wrong and you've got no evidence. And he said, I don't need it. All I need is them to say you did it. And I was like, yeah, okay. I still told him to piss off and get off my section. I was furious with him, man. And nothing came of it because they didn't push it because they knew it was fake. You always know a character assassination or a fake incident where the police are concerned was where they used the police to attack you. They'll send the police around your house with some false claim. And when they do that, they then and the policeman says, "Well, let's take it to court or let's do something about it." And they go, "Oh no, we don't want to do anything." And they back the cop off, and that's because they're using the police to attack and scare you off, but not to do anything to you because you'll tell the police and the court the truth, and they're terrified of that. So, and it probably happens to every single guy. I've met many guys who've been falsely accused, or someone at least has said to somebody, "Don't give that guy a hiding because he's stalking me," and the guy's not stalking you at all. He just happens to be walking down the same street as her, and stuff like that. And it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking when you're an older man and you're just trying to go into stores and stuff and do your normal thing, and you've got young females, very gullible, very vain, very prideful, who are looking at you like, I know what you want. And you're staring at them like, oh my gosh. And as soon as I see a female look at me with any kind of look like that on her face, or she looks me up and down and gives me a smile like, oh, and she's under 30, I veer out away. I get the heck out of there. It's just too scary. It's not so scary because I know of guys who slept with women who were around my age, have slept with women who are under 30, and nothing happened, nothing went wrong, but probably because the girls knew what they were doing and they weren't as mature as the other ones. But the problem is what they can do to you, even if they can't. Even if they can't prove you did anything, they can destroy your marriage if you're married. They can hurt your life in so many ways. So if you're married, stay away from them. Don't talk to them, or be just quickly polite. Say hi, how are you? If your daughter brings home her friends, just say hi, how are you, and get the heck out of there. Just stay away from them because they are not mentally capable of making the right calls. And they see things in you that aren't there. And and we all appreciate, sometimes you walk around the corner and you see a gorgeously shaped woman, you think, wow. And then if that happens to you, shut it down immediately. Just say, oh yeah, okay. And then I say to myself, you're never going to have that, James. Don't worry about it. You're never going to touch it. You're never going to make love to it. You're never going to be, she doesn't even want to be a friend. Just turn and walk away. And that's what I do. If I'm helping people, like in the past when I've done counselling, which I haven't done a lot of recently, I will stand in a public place with them and talk to them, like at the lake or in their driveway, outside on the fence. I've talked to a woman about them being sexually abused out in their fences, their front fence. So all the cars going past and everyone can see me talking to them. I've talked to people that way in the public because it's just too risky now. It's like Cliff Richard getting accused of molesting a boy. You can't. It's safer to do it this way. And so if you're an older man, just know that you can be attacked, especially if you've got money and stuff too. But some females are very spiteful. There's a guy. He picked up a hitchhiker in Hamilton, a truck driver, and he picked her up, and she said she wanted sex, and he said, "Oh no, I got a wife and kids at home. I'm not interested in sex with you." And she was young and beautiful and everything, and she said, "You ever give me sex, or I'm going to tell everyone that you tried to rape me." And he said, "What?" And he said, "No way." And he stopped the truck and he said, "Get out." So she reached her front, jumped out of the truck and ran up the street screaming, "Rape, rape!" And after the police talked to him, they realised what she was up to, and she got arrested instead. It took a little while to get the truth out, but she finally broke down. So all I'm saying is, I think the reason it came to me to make this video was to warn guys to be careful and to be like me, just avoid them like the plague. And you could have had wonderful friendships, and you can still have them. Just always make sure there's someone around. So when I was at Kinleith, foreman Eric Taylor came in to our smoke hut one day, and there was this guy, and he was in a room with a tester, a female. A lot of the testers were females, and the foreman told him off. Yeah, give him a huge telling off in front of everybody. And he said, but she's a friend. And he said, I don't care who she is. You're in a room alone with a female out here at Kinleith. He said, you do not do that. You never go into a room alone with a female out here. So you could be accused of doing something that you have no intention of doing. You're not going to. And this, I got told this about in the early 1990s. So about 1990, I think, was the year. And so the thing here I'm getting at is people have been well aware of men being victims of younger females, and they're, for whatever reason, they decide to accuse you of something you have not done. So please be aware of it. Please be very careful. And anyone under a certain age, like 30, don't look at. Don't look at. Don't see them in any way sexually. I see them as like a child, like my child, like a daughter, and I treat them like that. But I keep a distance, and only in a public place will I ever talk to one. They're just too scary. And what they could do to me to ruin my life, I could lose my job, I could go to jail, I could spend years in jail. There's a guy here who went to a party, he got drunk, and I think I put in another video, but he got drunk and some things happened. He ended up having sex with this woman. She had actually passed out. He was completely out of it. He had no idea what he was doing. And then she woke up while he was doing it, and the next day, she called the police on him. He got 9 years in jail for that one event. And she'd been saying, they'd worked out at the court case, she'd slept with at least 5 men that night. And I guess in his drunken state, he figured she didn't mind. And when they gave him the sentence, he was standing in the box, and tears were bucketing down, and he kept saying to them, when they asked him the questions, he just kept saying to them, I don't remember anything. And he didn't remember a thing, but he got 9 years in jail for it. When they passed the sentence, he was just devastated. He was going to be put on the lifers or whatever, probably end up being someone's sex toy in a male prison for something like that. So, guys, be careful and don't entertain thoughts about young women. Leave them have their life. If you're single and you're interested, go for women your own age, or it can happen that you can fall in love with one and marry and have a happy time. And that's wonderful, as long as you know she wants to. And she wants to publicly. She wants people to know that she's with you. And there's no secret meetings or anything where she can end up accusing you, or you can end up sleeping with her, she can get tested and DNA, and then you can get done for a long time. So keep it all out and open. And yeah, so just a warning, some thoughts to think about if you're an older man.